This ain't no Mickey Mouse. This ain't no Looney Tune. This is anime. And it's taking America by storm. Now, you can catch the anime fever or turbocharge your current anime video collection with the best of Japanese anime 2. But be warned, the best of Japanese anime 2 ain't no kid stuff. It's animation grown up and gone wild. Call this toll-free number now and get Wrath of the Ninja delivered to your door for just $4.95 with...
The 1980s saw the advent of the OVA, original video animation. This was anime that was cut above what was shown on TV, with more lavish production values and sometimes even too explicit for syndication content, but also not quite at the level for a theatrical run. An OVA can span a wide variety of genres, but the most prominent examples are sci-fi and cyberpunk. It's that cool and badass energy that you get from titles like Armitage 3, Bubblegum Crisis, Metal Skin Panic, Angel Cop, Cyber City 080808, and many more. Were deeply influenced by Western media like Blade Runner, Terminator, and well, you get the picture. Now get this. Japan's artists built upon these aesthetics in a way that has become definitive. Flash forward about 30 years and Hotline Miami introduces gamers to a brand of fast and brutal yet stimulating twin-stick action, coated with the dazzling veneer of the 1980s. So a small team of Brazilian developers generously thought, what if Hotline Miami was, an 80s anime in first person? With some rogue-like elements and a story that is way smarter than it needed to be, you ended up with MULLET MADJACK. This is the type of badass game that's rarely seen anymore, so jump right into the killing. You're in good hands. Like any proper cyberpunk story, MULLET MADJACK is set in a dystopian hellhole where life is as cheap as a Walmart sandwich and people are slaves to an algorithm, but literally. While emulating the distinct style of the VHS era of anime, this premise is surprisingly very modern and revolves around streams where life's blood is social media likes. Sounds like a lot of you out there already. Really, thanks a lot for paving the way. You'd probably line right up just to get that internet main line down your throat, wouldn't you sick fuck? And you're at the whims of your audience. If they get bored, you die. And they only have the attention span of 10 seconds, much like our viewers like you. Our hero barely has any say in the matter and is forced to save a kidnapped influencer from a robo-billionaire, an evil technocrat with a bullet-like dome. More than just a MADJACK, he is also Violence Jack and will have to kill his way up an entire building of randomly generated floors to save the princess. MADJACK is a true gamer at heart, a strong, silent-type energy drink fiend who enjoys classic anime, wears sunglasses at night, and drives around wearing cool jackets. He's a perfectly literally me, and comes with an excellent backing soundtrack and a disaffected Gosling-esque swagger. The quest to the top will be wrought with countless deaths for both the player and his foes, and the prize being an admittedly cool pair of sneakers. Every step of the way, the world's most smug anime girl will goad you into pressing on and offer an upgrade if you reach the next floor. Dying means starting the chapter from the start with a clean slate, but given how fast MULLET MADJACK's gameplay is, you're probably not gonna notice. The core experience is centered on frantic mad dashes to an exit and linear stages that are festooned with killer cyborgs and drones that are eager to terminate our hero. Most foes will die in a couple of shots. And while there are a few trickier enemies that need an extra step like the shielded guards, expect encounters to last fractions of a second. Death is fast, but MADJACK is faster. The player is as fragile as the paper droids he viciously disassembles, so he must always be on the move and not run out of time, since time is life. Every kill gains seconds, and maintaining a steady string of sickening slaughter nets more time. Mixing up the shootout with environmental kills by dash-kicking threats helps earn a big score. Ka-ching! Yeah. The core mechanics feel very snappy and fluid as one would expect from an intentionally retro-designed game. Sprites are always massive but detailed. A mix of hand-drawn anime with some elements of pre-rendered CG, and they exist in a low-poly world that ensures MULLET MADJACK can run on pretty much anything. Expect this to run perfectly even on modest computer specs, and to be compatible with most game controllers currently on market. When reaching the exit, MADJACK gets to pick one perk out of 3 randomly selected options. At first, these are straightforward and can be anything from a different weapon, increased ammo capacity, penetration, or time bonuses for head and nut shots. As players ascend the building, more options unlock and some perks can be upgraded and stacked. Even better is that the pool of options expands, so even when you restart at the first floor, you may have an easier time getting through with all the new toys at your disposal. Oh yeah. The kinesthetic feedback from the violence is very satisfying. There's an appropriate heft and crunch when kicking a boy in the chest as they careen back into the ventilation fan, exploding into a visceral and pulpy mess. The sound effects go a long way into the movements and weight of the action too, making MADJACK feel lethal and like he moves with a purpose. Sliding and kicking are crucial pillars of MADJACK's arsenal. Sure, the flaming katana or the railguns have an unbeatable appeal, but your speed is your most important asset. It's your most important stat, and speed is your friend. It's gonna be one of your only friends. Getting to the end of the stages is more important than scoring headshots on noobs. Learning how to master MADJACK's mobility and using the environment to instantly wipe out cyborgs with sharply placed kicks and slides is a high-level way to play the game. As players get their asses to the higher levels of the building, new stage gimmicks are introduced. Floor hazards and more elaborate rooms with multiple paths begin to appear as possibilities, and new abilities are introduced to support the new possibilities. Wall running your way through areas full of bottomless pits at top speeds while also trying to kill chainsaw maniacs to rack up points to stay alive is as invigorating as it sounds. The boss battles change the pace from a frenetic and desperate race against time to a more conventional first-person action game experience. You won't need to worry about a thing with keeping adrenaline up like Jeff Chelios. Instead, gameplay can be anything from a sniper shootout, car battle, or a no-frills one-on-one beatdown with an equally skilled warrior. These are worthwhile additions that mix up the constant and pounding rise of action and serve as a perfect climax to each chapter. Mullet MADJACK's gameplay is an intense, euphoric rush of adrenaline and jolting visceral rage that makes it hard to put down. Expect to die a lot, but death always follows a biting urge to keep going and do better. The gameplay and visuals are a lot to take in. It can be overwhelming due to the amount of information and the ridiculous speed, but it does not take long to adjust to the tempo. The graphics will undoubtedly stand out to anyone who looks at this game. As mentioned earlier, Mullet MADJACK's visuals are inspired by cyberpunk anime from the late 80s and early 90s. All the cool shit you can remember from that era is here. The poofy-haired bitches that you won't ask to leave, the Mohawk maniacs, Nerve-style design layouts, the Akira bike slide, and the dazzling lurid colors that paint a picturesque cityscape in the face of adversity. The art that attempts to capture the look and feel of a genuine anime is not quite there. Mullet MADJACK has no Japanese artist on staff, and while the designers came very close to emulating the look and feel of an 80s anime, any old weeb who grew up with the same VHS collection as the developers would have a keen eye and would be able to tell the difference. Despite the inauthenticity, Mullet MADJACK achieves a cool and stylish look of its own that makes it instantly recognizable. The sheer density of the graphics and attention to detail veer on sensory overload, especially in a game where you don't have the time to stop and smell the roses. There's a lot to appreciate, and because of the repeated deaths and retries, gamers will begin to notice the cheeky sight gags and small touches. Mullet MADJACK is a brutal and exhilarating revelation set in the memory of when cyberpunk anime was at its absolute creative and artistic peak. The sly story about the dangers of AI, transhumanism, and how addiction takes many forms are diabolically married into the gameplay. The premise isn't just a meathead plot to blow shit up. Mullet MADJACK has things to say, and it says everything with a wry smirk, promising a fun time with awesome music.
You want more retro game reviews? Try liking this video and subscribing to our channel, and maybe Command will let me do more. And kids, remember to share.